Purpose for these videos is to educate you on things that you should look out for before either hiring an agent, before selling or buying. I want to get into reasons why you should not sell your home if you are considering selling your property. What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in to another video here of living in El Paso. I'm 𝐓𝐢𝐦𝐞𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐦𝐩𝐬. I'm a local real estate advisor. I'm also an investor in the area. And the purpose for these videos is to educate you on things that you should look out for before either hiring an agent, before selling or buying. So if this catches your attention, feel free to watch any of our other videos. And in today's conversation, I want to get into reasons why you should not sell your home if you are considering selling your property. Now, the first thing that you should consider if you are potentially thinking about selling your home is the reason why you're doing it. Now, I understand there is a variety of things that can happen, so I'm gonna cover some of the things why maybe you should sell, but then also the main focus being why you should not if these are things that you have been considering, obviously to ensure that you are educated. Now, the first reason why you should not sell in a real estate market, whether it might be because you are constantly being bombarded by realtors, by family members, by whatever the case might be to sell, it's typically going to be because they tell you that the market is great and you should take advantage of it. So if you are considering selling your home out of fear, that's the best way to put it. If you're thinking about selling it simply because people are telling you that it's back like 2008 and you should get out while you still can and you should cash in on the proceeds and you should just take advantage of that, I'm going to encourage you to do more research and not let all the people, all the skeptics influence your decision on that. The reason I say this is because there's a lot of people, unfortunately, that have sold and they did it out of fear. They simply did it because somebody told them that they should not keep the house because the values were depreciating, and they decided to sell, and 10 years passed by, and then they realized that that property that they sold actually appreciated in value and now is worth over $100,000 more, $200,000 more than what they originally sold it for. So this is a huge indicator that you want to be on the lookout for. So many people nowadays, especially social media, right, plays a huge factor in it. You're watching this video right now. You probably watched somebody else's video. You're probably watching somebody's shorts, somebody's reels, somebody's TikTok, and everybody has a different opinion. The thing that I always tell my clients is you need to do your research to find out if it's the right time for you, okay? Whether it's buying, whether it's selling, but making sure that you understand why you're doing it. And I see a lot of people sometimes in the comments saying like, oh, you know, this is why I would never buy, you know, there's all these risks and all these things. And if you're one of these people, look, all I have to say is that everybody's different. And you have to think about it from this perspective. There's bad things that can happen in anything you're doing in life. I mean, you getting into the car, God forbid, something happens to you, you're driving, something can happen, you're eating, you could choke. I mean, there's so many negative things that can happen in life. In a world where everything seems negative, we should try our very, very best to focus on the positive. For those of you that know me, I also have my coaching business. So I'm also a mindset development coach, and I preach so much about talking about mindset because I think that this influences everything you do in life. And that's the reason why I have been able to actually grow my business to where I'm at. I'm very blessed, I'm very thankful. And I share this with you because you don't want to be one of these people that just focuses on the negative in life. You want to see the positive. And if you're in a situation in which you can hold your real estate because you know from the bottom of your heart and from the facts, the data, the information you have, that you're able to continue to pay for this property, I would encourage you to do so because you never know when the right time is going to be to actually sell your property. But it's a lot better for you to know that you sold it because you wanted to and you genuinely wanted to take advantage of the market because you knew that you had already paid enough into the home and you just wanted to cash out and that's it. Versus I sold because I had to or because people told me to do it, and then 10 years down the road you're looking back at, oh my gosh, that house is worth triple the amount of what I sold it for. I hate that I did that. So keep that in mind. That is definitely one of the strongest reasons why you should not sell if you have been considering selling, okay? Now, the next reason why you should consider not selling your home is if you are in a situation in which potentially you could end up renting that home out. And a lot of agents don't talk to you about this because, quite frankly, a lot of them care more about the money than doing what's right for you. Remember, we've talked about this before. I see those people in the comments sometimes saying, they're all the same. No, Nancy, we're not all the same, okay? There's people, just like there's good people, there's bad people, right? Just like there's good doctors, there's bad doctors, good teachers, bad teachers, you name it. So, unfortunately, there are some agents that are in it for the money, but then there's other agents that genuinely don't need your money. They're blessed enough that they have opportunities with clients that thankfully trust in them and they continue to grow in their business. And they genuinely know that by helping people and taking care of them and advising them in a way that is ethical and in a mutual benefit for both parties, that they're gonna continue to sell. So unfortunately, again, there's some people that will not tell you to rent your house or to short-term rental it or whatever the case is. If you are in a market that will allow you to maybe rent it out, maybe put it up as an Airbnb, maybe just fully, rent it, sublease it to somebody else, and you can still continue to make those payments, do it, okay? I think that one of the things that a lot of people don't think about when it comes to real estate is that it is a long-term game, okay? Unless, and we'll get into the reasons why you should sell, but some of the reasons why a lot of people sometimes think like it's better for me to sell is because they don't want to deal with what they don't understand. That's the bottom line. So if you are in a situation in which you're like, look, honestly, I would like to at least explore what it would look like for me to keep this asset and rent it. If the numbers make sense, you should do it. But I will say there's some people, unfortunately, the monthly payment is not going to amount to the amount of what they're able to rent that home out for, and they decide to just sell it, right? And if that is the case, now we're getting into the reasons why you should sell. Maybe you're in that situation. Maybe you're in a situation in which you know for a fact, Alexa, my mortgage, my credit was super bad, but I still wanted to buy a home. I didn't work on improving my credit score, and my rate was actually what affected my monthly payment. And now I pay $3,000 in my mortgage, but in reality, the market terms of what you could rent it for is actually $2,000. So I'm gonna be out $1,000 every month. That might be one of the reasons, but I could argue the fact that if you're able to continue to make that $1,000 difference, maybe you write it out for 5 years, and maybe at the end of the 5 years, you get a really good payday. So considering these things, I understand, obviously the situation is different for everybody. That is something you wanna consider. Another reason maybe you're considering actually selling is if you are going through a divorce, right? Divorces are not fun, divorces are messy, and they can be complicated, but of course, with the right people by your side, it can make it a lot easier. I'm actually one of the local realtors here in the area that I partner with some attorneys that send us their clients whenever they're in a situation where they have to actually sell. And overall, it can be a complex process, but it can be very smooth if all parties are in a meeting of the minds. So maybe that's something that's happening to you. Maybe you're going through a divorce, maybe you're going through something that's not ideal right now, and you're like, look, Alexa, I need to sell. It's just not gonna work out. I need to go buy myself another house from the proceeds that I'm gonna get. Maybe that is something you might wanna consider selling. Now, another reason why you might consider selling is if you are in a situation in which you know that right now, this property is just not something you're able to continue to pay. That's the bottom line, right? I've had some people, unfortunately, that they maybe lost their job, or maybe they're in a situation in which now they just simply can't afford it because they're obviously maybe getting lower hours, whatever the case might be. Unfortunately, things like these do happen. As a side note though, I would encourage you to just look at options of what you can do as extra income, okay? Because life happens, but we need to roll with the punches, okay? I feel like a lot of times people see like people doing videos and they're like, oh, it's easy for you to say, like everything must be figured out for you. But honestly, I think all of us go through hard patches in life, and it's just about embracing them and trying to figure out a solution versus letting it take the best out of us. But of course, if it comes down to where you're like, look, I need to sell, I just rather sell it, rent for a while. I have a client like that right now, beautiful soul. She's basically going through some stuff, and I actually helped her sell her home in California, buy the new home, and then now we're selling it and she's gonna rent for a while, and then eventually we'll go back on the market. So it is one of these things that, again, it happens, life happens, and you need to do what's best for you. But if maybe you're in a situation like that, maybe that is a time for you to sell. And of course, the last reason why you might be selling could be also that you are simply upgrading, right? It's time to either upgrade or downsize. Maybe you're somebody that has now extended your family, or you're somebody that is downsizing in family. Whatever the case might be, make sure you're doing your research. Make sure that nobody is telling you that you should do this based off the idea of what they believe is in your best interest, but that you actually do what's in your best interest based off the facts, based off the information that you know, and honestly just being in alignment with the right people. I saw a comment recently on a colleague of mine's videos that she puts out, and some person said like, oh, you know, this is why I would never sell. Like, don't even listen to the people that are being recommended by your realtor because they're all in cahoots with each other and they all just want to make a profit out of each other. Honestly, the first thing I will cover is that that's unethical, but yes, it can happen. And this is where it does take you trusting your intuition, trusting reviews from other people, and really just knowing who you're gonna work with. I have companies that we actually recommend our clients do their inspections with that I have no affiliation with. Like literally, I have to pay them when they're gonna do an inspection for something that I'm gonna purchase. And it's the same thing for other clients. I just recommend them because they've done a good job. And I know what a good job looks like and I know what a bad job looks like. So I don't want my clients to go with ABC inspectors. It's a random name, okay? Don't come for me. But essentially, I don't want them to go through a situation in which they're gonna be putting themselves in jeopardy and choosing a bad company, but we don't make any profit off of that. So just doing your research and really finding out what is going to be the best idea for you, what's gonna be the best plan for you is extremely important. And having the right people by your side is the most crucial part of this process. Whether you're gonna keep your house, whether you're gonna sell your house, just having those people that you can reach out to in case you have questions, super, super important. So with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in to yet another episode here. I call them episodes because I have a podcast and I always say like, thank you for tuning into today's podcast. So I call them episodes, so sorry for that. But overall, today's video, thank you so much for being a supporter here. If you enjoyed this content and you find that somebody else might benefit from it, I would greatly appreciate if you would consider sharing it, subscribing, or commenting down below. With that being said, thank you again, and I hope you have a great day. I will talk to you guys on the next one.